is going on, everybody? My name is Malik Brown, here for Rolling Out. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Mr. Kalen Allen. Kalen, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Doing good. Always energetic. I love the energy. I love the energy.
Well, thank you. I do what I can. You know, I got to stay up so my life can stay up. Won't it do it? Come on.
First of all, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling really good. You know, it's a nice, beautiful morning here in New York City, so I'm thriving with the sunlight.
Definitely love it. I need to get up there with you.
Come on.
Well, cool. But today, you know, of course, we're here to talk about the new HIV prevention campaign. Me and you and me. Of course, you know, there are a couple people in this. It's about a minute 30 video. It's Tina Knowles, Jalen Rose, you, of course, Juan, Reno, and Mitchell. First of all, I mean, just the importance of this video. How was your experience with this?
Well, you know, when I first got the call being invited to do it, I was absolutely for it. Being a Black queer man myself, I know how HIV affects my community on a daily basis. And so it was important for me to be a part of something, because I always like to use my platform for anything that is geared towards representation and visibility. And I think HIV, especially in today's day and age, is like we start to talk a little bit more about it, but I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done, especially when it comes to HIV prevention. And so doing the campaign was very uplifting for me, because, you know, I've experienced losing people to this, and I have people that have experience living with HIV. And so, you know, these conversations aren't often had. And so anytime I get an opportunity to be a part of that conversation, I'm always front row and center.
Love that. And the message just kind of says it all. Me and you and me. What does that mean to you?
I think to me, it's like, it means that on the core basis of everyone as human beings, we are all the same. And regardless of the different circumstances or things that may happen to us, or the things that, you know, say that you may have a diagnosis of something, that does not make me different from anybody else. That is just a little thing that is just specific about me. But on the core basis, we all need to learn how to accept and love and embrace each other for who we actually are at the core beings of ourselves.
Definitely. I love that so much. You know, how can we have these type of conversations, you know, 365, 24/7? I mean, I think these are definitely the type of conversations that need to be had a lot, you know, when we talk about HIV prevention and you talk about any other type of things that are going on in the community. How do we have these conversations?
Well, you know, I think it's more so removing the taboo around it.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's being willing to say, like, it should be just normal conversation, be able, like, yeah, I got tested last week, you know, or something like that. Instead, we keep it away as if it's like vulgar or it's something that we shouldn't talk about. And I don't think that needs to be the case. I think we need to embrace that sex is a normal thing that all of us human beings participate in, or, you know, or in our lives. And I don't know why we act as though sometimes that's something that we should shy away from. So I think more so becoming comfortable with that conversation and those topics, and being able to have those conversations, especially with your friends in the circles around you, is what can help destigmatize this concept of, you know, HIV prevention, and even talking about getting PrEP and stuff like that.
Definitely. Do you think it kind of starts, you know, in the schools, or where do you think these conversations should kind of start? Because, you know, we have the health classes in school, we have, and then, you know, of course we get older, and then of course in colleges and whatnot. Where do you think the conversations need to start?
I would say the conversation needs to start at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we do a lot of skating around when we talk about, like, the birds and the bees, like, call it what it is. You know, because
Right.
I think it's like we try to protect kids from a world that is not here to protect them. You know what I mean? And it's like we have to be that protection, because the world is going to go no matter what. And the conversation is going to come up eventually. And if your child does not have the understanding of what these situations are and how to be better equipped for them, then they go looking other places and they may not get good, credible information. So it has to start at home, because then you know that you have a little bit more, you know, a little more agency on the understanding and the type of information that is being handed out.
Definitely. When this campaign, when you first heard about it, first of all, where were you when you first heard about it? Your emotions just around the whole campaign. How were you feeling?
Well, I was at home when I was asked to do it, but I think I was really nervous because the way that we did the campaign was that we did an interview. So we were partnered up and we would interview someone, but we had never seen them and we didn't know their name. So it was like we were on like a web conference and it was like pitch black and we were just talking to somebody. So it really helped you remove all biases that you may have against someone. Because all you were left to was really discovering someone's inner spirit and their soul. And I love that. And also you listened more intently because you were trying to figure out who it was. Yes. Now, luckily they did not put me with Tina Knowles Lawson because I would have known who that was. Okay. As soon as I would have heard her voice, I would have said, oh, Mama Tina, But so I think that was very nice. And then, especially then when we actually got to shoot it and we were walked to the stage, eyes closed, couldn't see anything. It was still a surprise. And then when the lights came up, it was a different emotional reaction, because you felt like you knew this person, but even though you didn't know much about them. And so then it just gave you an opportunity to really connect to them. Oh, I think it froze for me. There we go. I'm back.
I'm back.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
But you were talking about, it's a different experience. Just being there and everything like that.
Right. I was saying that, when we got to the stage and then we couldn't see each other still, it's like when we opened our eyes, it was a different emotional connection because we felt like we knew so much about this person, but more importantly, we knew this person for who they are without knowing, and getting to know them on a more personable level. And so when we opened our eyes, there was not much, anxiety or withdrawal because it felt like we knew this person. Now we're just finally getting to meet, almost like a blind date.
Yeah, definitely. Just with the different people that were a part of the campaign. Like you said, you learn something new about people and things of that nature. So I'm glad that you were able to experience that as well. But how do you think that kind of affects people that are watching the campaign? Seeing these people like you or Miss Tina or Jalen Rose, talk about these topics.
I think it's very important. And I love that we got a little bit of everybody from every community, especially when it comes to even when you talk about like the heterosexual community, because usually when we talk about HIV prevention, when we talk about HIV period, it's only a conversation that is held within the gay community, and doesn't really expand outside of that. But the reality is that HIV can affect anyone. It does not matter. It does not discriminate, and I think also getting a wide array of people and their backgrounds and the careers that they have and where they live within society, I think is important, because it's like everyone has some sort of influence. And as long as you bring together a collective of diverse people, they are able to reach different sectors that one person could not reach on their own, and I think that's what was important. And for people to see figureheads within media and culture and stuff, to be able to see them talk about these issues kind of makes it almost okay for other people to talk about it. Like, I think that's how influence works. It's like, oh, well, they talked about it, so I'm gonna talk about it now.
Definitely. And you talk about influence, and I mean, of course, we've seen you everywhere doing amazing things. How much do you think your influence is kind of help push this conversation?
I think what's special about where I reside is that I live in a middle space between also a young crowd because I'm only 26, but I also have a lot of older adults that follow me, that may have been shy to this conversation, or maybe not even even had to have this conversation, depending on the communities that they grow up in, the parts of the country that they live in. And so I think me being able, it's just like with anything I do, is that it helps become a conversation starter. It helps ignite a new thing that people feel more comfortable about talking about, or they feel like, or even for people that are affected by HIV, I think by me talking about it, then they are able to feel seen and validated, you know, because I come from a place of not bringing any judgment, but understanding, you know, and wanting people to be better equipped to live their best lives possibly.
Definitely, definitely, and it definitely starts with, you know, no judgment. Because I mean that's really a big key when it comes to things like this. And of course, you know, with your amazing influence, I think that continues to push it as well. You know, we're in the future. You know, how can we how in the future do you think this can open up the eyes to many people and, you know, be a big thing and be able to, you know, just impact the world?
Yeah, I think it all boils down to having conversations about, you know, STI testing, to having conversations about prevention, to talk about PrEP, to talk about these things that help, you know, and not acting as though they are out of the ordinary. I think it's changing the conversation around HIV. HIV is not the disease that it was when it was first introduced to the world. You know, having conversations about how people survive, how people are able to live as long as they are taking their medication on a regular basis as is prescribed by their doctors. You know, having those conversations and being transparent about that helps destigmatize that, because I think people a lot of times in this entire world, in this society, the only time that people come from a hateful place or they come from a place of not understanding is purely due to ignorance, with them not having the resources and the tools to be better equipped and to have the knowledge of what things really are instead of what they believe things to be.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I love to ask you, you know, what's next for you? What do you have going on that in Kalen's world that the people should be excited about?
Well, you know, I'm always expanding and I'm always growing, and it's so much that I'm actually working on right now. But then the bad thing about this industry is like you're always working on something, but then they tell you can't tell nobody until it's announced and stuff like that. You know, so then when people ask me this question, I'll be like, well, I got this arsenal of stuff right here about to give me this big check, but I can't even tell you about it. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that it's coming, and I've been working, and Kalen is not unemployed. So when you put it in the article, just say Kalen status employed. There we go.
That's all. I already know how it is. I already know how it is. Can't tell nobody this. Can't tell nobody that.
Okay. And then people think you broke, ain't got no job, sitting at home, and you be like, "That's not the case, baby. It's not the case."
Before we go, Kayla, I want to ask you, just wrapping up everything with HIV protection and the conversation, me and you and me. What's the one thing you want a person to take away from this campaign? What's the one thing you want them to take away from this?
You know, I think the campaign itself is bigger than HIV. I think if you really pay attention to the campaign, you realize that by knowing how we did it, you understand how much we keep ourselves from a lot of things in life based off of our own biases and our own presumptions, you know. And I think if we entered into this world every day, removing those biases and entering in a place of just wanting to know people from the core of who they are, I think this would be a much happier place.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kayla, for coming on and speaking with us. This was great. Before you go, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter, Instagram, you know, social media. I know you, like I said, you everywhere, man. So let the people know where they can find you.
Well, lucky for y'all, I make it very easy. And you can just find me at the Kalen Allen. It will always be there until I leave this earth.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kayla, for coming on, speak with us about this amazing campaign. And I hope that it changes lives, it touches lives. And thank you for being in the forefront of everything. We really appreciate you.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Malik.
Always. Thank you guys for coming on. This is Rolling Out with Malik Brown, my special guest, Kalen Allen, and we are out.